Hello and welcome to News Up Now. I'm Gleidson Martins. My guest is the author of the International Circus Affair, Jeff Raz. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure to be here.
It's an interesting book, very informative. I didn't know anything about this.
Yes.
So, International Circus Affair, it's an affair between China and the United States.
Yes. Well, I love that you and I are talking because you're not in this world, and it's a very detailed book about the incident that started the book. Was in 1990 in March, when a man named Liu Yi, who was one of the best acrobats in China, who then became the head of the Nanjing Acrobatic Troupe, and then became the deputy director of acrobatics for all of China. Which is a big deal. He met pretty regularly with the top leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. Acrobatics in China at the time was not just a performance mode, but it was a political tool. It was the art form that China decided pretty soon after the revolution. So it was Mao decided acrobatics is how we're going to do cultural diplomacy. So in 1990, he arrives in San Francisco for a variety of reasons that we may get into. And that's really the story of circus since 1990 in the United States. Actually in North America and in a lot of Europe and in Australia too. All come from this one man, Liu Yi, leaving China.
You mentioned in part 2 of your book, you introduced the reader to the Pickle family.
Right, Pickle Family Circus.
Which was a big deal still in a sense of history.
Yes.
Important for new artists as well.
It is, and yet it was a small circus. The scale between China and San Francisco, even Nanjing and San Francisco, the scale of the cities is different. Even though Nanjing is very similar to San Francisco in the mind of China. It's a city. It's a port city, very famous for its culture, like us, but it's like 30 times the size of San Francisco. Chinese scale is just different, and same with acrobatics. The Pickle Family Circus, though, was, along with Make a Circus, in 1974, when they both started touring in San Francisco Bay Area. They were small, funky, not the high level of skills we're seeing now. And they created a thing called New Circus, which Cirque du Soleil picked up on, which almost every circus in North America and most circuses in Europe have taken. Actually, it's the Mexican circuses coming in here that are coming up over the border that are holding down the traditional circus format.
You're saying today?
Today, yes. You have new circus performers and contemporary circus performers going to see a Mexican circus and going, I'm seeing history. Because you are.
You're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, everything we watch, like Cirque du Soleil or other circuses, is that based on Liu Yi?
No, I'm glad you asked that. You're seeing some circuses are still, as I mentioned, a Mexican circus in a more, what would be called traditional, which would be, there's a ringmaster, and each act has its own costuming and has its own music, but a lot of circuses are based on the Pickle Family Circus and Make a Circus idea, where there's a storyline or at least a theme. You recognize this from Cirque du Soleil as well. And there's a costumer who costumes the whole thing, and often live music in there too. And then there's the next generation, which is the contemporary circus, where the costumes are very much streetwear. You and I could be in costume sitting right here. And there's no ringmaster. The acrobats are also the jugglers, are also the musicians, and it's a different style. Most circuses you see today will pretty easily fit into a traditional circus, new circus, which is like the Pickle Family Circus, or a contemporary circus, which is like Seven Fingers at Club Fugazi here in San Francisco. Now, a lot of circuses, like Circus Bella, where you and I met, combination of all three.
Okay.
you're in a tent, which is traditional American style circus, not Chinese style circus, but American style. And yet there's 4 acts in that show that are Chinese acts that were not here in the repertoire before 1990 when Louis arrived.
So that year, that's when you were getting training by Louis.
When he started training the Pickle Family Circus and then started training kids who've now become big stars. So that's when, as you said a while ago, a new circus form started, Chinese acrobatics, heavy discipline, 2,000 years of tradition, a bunch of ex-hippies doing some circus stuff, and it worked.
So you mentioned Cirque du Soleil a couple of times.
Yes.
And it makes me wonder, though, when you watch a performance from Cirque du Soleil, it seems to me, and I might be wrong, you're watching like a Broadway performance, more than a circus.
Yes.
And why is that?
Very, very astute. Because Cirque du Soleil said, they saw the Pickle Family Circus, they saw some others, said, yes, but we've got $4 million from the Canadian government. And we're above New York, we're in Montreal. We want to get some of those Broadway folks. So you got it exactly. We want the designers, we want the lighting designers, we want some of those set design, costume, makeup, hair, and we want that smoothness that you get from a great Broadway musical. And we want a theme, but we don't want a storyline.
Interesting.
And actually, in the research of this, I found that Guy Laliberté, who's the current owner, but was one of the founders of Cirque du Soleil, went to see Louis before he came to this country when he was in Australia. Wow. And they were experimenting with a theme for the circus, but not a plot.
And what is the relationship when it comes to circus between the United States and China today?
It's really different. It was way back in the day, not. But then we move up, and at some point when China started opening to the West, circus impresarios, circus directors started going, oh man, the skill level here is amazing. Now we just have to figure out how to package it for our audiences.
I guess your experience as being part of a circus and meeting Louis, also the Pickle Family Circus too. So when you look back to your career and you see the circus today, what are the similarities and the differences you see today?
I love seeing people I knew when they were 5 as circus stars. And what I see is their skill level makes us look, not so good. I mean, I was a good acrobat. I was a very good juggler. Not now. I mean, even if I had my skills then. So that's good. If I've been in this community, the circus community, for 52 years as a professional.
Wow. You wrote something which I think it's very powerful. Every time a story is told, it is a test of memory and motive. That's strong.
I'll tell you when I wrote that. There was a trip to the Wu Chao Festival, and Louis and I were in charge. The Chinese folks running it would talk to Louis would talk to me, I would talk to it was wild. Okay. But we went there. Now, we were there for 2 weeks, and I was in every part of it. So I wrote the chapter from memory. And then I found my notes from my journal.
Wow.
I had forgotten 5 people who were on that trip. Shouldn't do that. I had to rewrite the entire thing.
Oh my gosh.
And I went, but I was sure of it. So that's when I came up with that sentence, and I said, I got to tell people that this, when it's in a book and you're sitting here, you're holding the book, it's got heft, it's got a title there, it's got footnotes. I just want a little warning of, that's also everyone's memory.
And where people can buy the book?
It's published by Modern Vaudeville Press, and so you can go on the Modern Vaudeville Press. It's actually Modern Vaudeville Press /Nanjing because Louis is from Nanjing. Also, you can get it on any place that books are sold.
Interesting history of acrobatics, circus in general. It's a good reading, easy. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah.